Nothingness and emptiness. Hello, this is Chris speaking. Shores of Infinity with the fourth and last video in the mini-series Musings of a No-Self. The first three videos were Trinity, Duality and Singularity. Those three are the basic concepts in trying to put words to something which is inexplicable, cannot be described. As soon as you put it into words, it's already wrong. But hopefully a little bit less wrong than most of the stuff people believe in. Because it all comes back to belief. What can you know and what is belief? 99.9999999% of everything that's out there that you've ever heard or read is just belief. Someone believes it, someone else believes also, and then more and more people believe in it, and after a while it becomes mainstream and people talk of knowledge. The same with our scales. There's something likable, something sympathetic about them. The Hawkins scales, biodynamics, the locations, the Enneagram, and so on. All these tools to describe things, which usually end up in some kind of weird evaluation. And then we think there's something truer and something wronger somehow. Like if it's closer to 1000 on the Hawkins scale, it must be true. Something is in second tier or third tier, it must be true. And the same has been the case in religions and sciences. The whole thing of natural science, for example, nowadays, it's a belief system. It cannot be proved. Natural sciences have abandoned philosophy and religion because they say, well, it cannot be proved, so we ignore it. But actually, if you really get down to it, no laws of mathematics, chemistry, or physics can be proved. They're assumptions. They're assumptions that are useful. That's it. Just as in most religions, the assumption is that there is a God, or that there are gods. That there is somehow a pattern, a system, a structure, a hierarchy, a purpose, a meaning. So no matter if natural sciences or philosophy and humanities and psychologies or religions, they're all ways to explain the chaos and the suffering. It's all to find a purpose and a meaning to ameliorate our suffering. Because then we can say, okay, because of this, it's somehow worth it. And all the negative stuff then we can blame on evolution or on psychopaths or on gods or on fate or on global warming or on Klaus Schwab or whoever. It doesn't really matter. It's all part of what? Of Maya. It's all one big conspiracy. Not like a conspiracy theory that someone or a group of people or some reptiles or whatever are supposed to blame or to be blamed. Everything is a conspiracy, and this conspiracy is called Maya. We try to find what is real and what is not real, what is reality and what is illusion in spirituality. That's what most people think about and try to find out in the spiritual path is what is true and what is illusion. What is really real? Or what's the difference between real and true? what can we rely upon and on what can't we? Who and what can we trust and what not? And that's exactly the issue. We try to find axioms. We try to find underlying principle laws which we can agree upon and then go from there. Forgetting that these laws, these axioms, these principles, these agreed upon assumptions and presumptions are just that. They're assumptions. They're beliefs. They cannot be proved. They just make life easier. Easier, more bearable. I get a lot of emails and people say, okay, I'm sure this is true, but this is not true. They think they can rely upon this and that, or whatever they think they understood, or what they read, or some guru, or some scientist, or some prophet, whatever. Why? Because it makes life bearable for you. If you lived on the assumption that nothing is real, things would get really chaotic, but also really interesting. Yeah, all safety would be gone. What we long for is safety, stability, security, because it improves our chance of survival. Someone recently wrote, but the survival instinct is real. I don't believe it's an illusion. Sure, the survival instinct is real. It's the most real thing for everyone. For you and for the next person. For him, her, themselves, the survival instinct is the most real thing of all. Because it is eternally present without ever taking a break. But what is real? What do you mean with that word real? Or someone else who says, yeah, but if you run into a wall, if you get hit by a car, that's real. Okay, if you define it like that, we're back to axioms. Axioms are definitions. This and this is now defined as this and that. You just create words and agree upon meanings for that word, so that you don't have to, in every conversation, start from the beginning. And thus you start to create a story, your story, or the world's story. You're a historian. You're creating a sense of continuity, of linear time, of meaning, of purpose, of structure. But what would happen if you were not to do that? If you were to start every time from the beginning, from the now, without story, without context, without axioms, without definitions, without laws, without science, without gods, without beliefs, without knowledge, without emotions, without thoughts, only you and your survival instinct, what would happen? I tell you what would happen. Nothing. Nothing happens. Nothing ever happens. Which sounds like a paradox. We see things happening all the time. But on the other hand, if you go back to the beginning, to where consciousness starts, nothing happens. And this paradox, there's a name for it in Sanskrit. It's called Maya. Everything you call reality is Maya. There's nothing that is not Maya. And your survival instinct is also Maya. And you also can call it laws, physical laws, or God, or reality, or the universe, or the cosmos. It's all the same thing. It's all Maya. All manifestation is Maya. And you can use concepts like unity or duality or non-duality or trinity to hone in on what Maya is. But you still cannot grasp it. Because actually it's nothingness, it's emptiness. And there are a million ways to prove it, and there's no way to disprove this. Because you cannot prove that you're not living 100% illusion. Illusion doesn't mean that it's not real, that it's not there. It just means that you're tricked. If you go to a stage magician, you're getting tricked. As an entertainment program, not because a stage magician is mean, it's a form of entertainment. You choose to go there, you even pay for the ticket. And you're having a great time for an hour or so. And the cool thing is that you cannot penetrate the illusion of the illusionist. You don't know how he teleports the tiger from one cage to another, or how he saws the virgin in two, or how he rips something into pieces and then it's whole again, how he makes things disappear or appear, or how the mentalist can guess your name, or how much changes in your wallet, or your deepest wish, or where you want to go on holiday next. It's fun because you cannot see through the trick. It's a trick, or many tricks combined. The more tricks you combine as a magician, the more difficult it is for the others to see through. Because your brain is wired that way, that you can maximum find out one trick, but not more than that. So for example, as a magician, I can ask you suggestive questions, or I can tell you something, a statistic for example. And then I do a movement that is confusing and also distract you with something else, some music or some pretty girls or some animals or some lights or a curtain, or maybe I use a mirror, or I reverse the order of something. And already there's no way to see through the illusions. And the greatest illusion, the greatest trickster, the greatest stage magician of all time is called Maya. And the persistent assumption that this is real. And it is real as a magical trick, as an illusion. It's a perfect illusion, a perfect stage performance. It is real, it's really happening. At the same time, it's only like a movie, like a play, like a magical performance. The movie is also playing, or the theater is, or the magical show is performed now. But it's not really happening because it's only a story. It is being performed. It's not happening in the real world. Like a computer game. You can play a computer game, it's real, but the game itself is not, you wouldn't say this is reality. This is the same. This is why the Matrix movies, at least the first 3, are so good. Because Neo gets to see behind more and more layers of this artificial reality, of this simulation. But does it ever end? No. At the end of the 3rd movie, he gets to see Maya, but it's still only a picture. It's not the source. It's the deepest level of simulation that he can reach, but he cannot know if it's the primary level. You can discuss all you want and find reasons why this and that must be true. But in the end, it will stay a belief in an axiom that you or someone else has defined as reliable. It's a little bit like in Saint-Exupéry's The Little Prince. He needs to assign words to things. As soon as you have assigned a word, there is meaning, there is purpose, there seems to be some sense in the world. Well, in actual fact, to assign a name is already a magical trick. If I say this is a tree, it's not a scientific or in another way helpful action or method. It's a magical trick. This is not a tree. What is that supposed to be? A tree. Same you can do with other things. Gravity or love. What is that supposed to be, love? Love can mean so many things. Why do you have to have one word for all the things love can possibly mean? Why do you need to have one word for all the trees? Why do you need numbers? Why do you need numbers? For what? To count your money. Otherwise, there's no purpose. Why do you need to know if in this forest there are 10 trees or 100 trees or 1,000 trees or 10,000 trees or 100,000 trees? Who cares? It's all made up. We're constantly co-creating the illusion of reality. We're part of Maya. We willingly participate in Maya by assigning words and numbers and meaning and structure and laws to it. Because we fear something really, really bad would happen if we don't. If we wouldn't do this. What bad thing would happen? Nothing. Nothing is what human beings are afraid of more than anything else. We avoid it at all cost. Because we equate nothing with death and suffering, with feeling ignored, with feeling alone. Nothing is hell in our mind. It's not. But that's what we believe deep down, and that's why we try to avoid nothing at all costs. And the cost is, of course, suffering. We suffer because we believe in stuff instead of nothing. Instead of just watching nothingness unfold. And watch nothing happening. Watch emptiness. Be bored a little bit. And it's not so bad. It's not so horrible. You just imagine it to be horrible. And then some of us get this weird idea that the purpose of all this reality is enlightenment, which is back asswards. The purpose of this all is entertainment. Enlightenment is to exit the entertainment fun park, exit Maya, and perceive and be nothingness, emptiness, nothing happening. If you really want to do that, you can do it right now. Just stop co-creating, stop believing, stop knowing, stop thinking, stop feeling. And observe what happened right now when I said that. When I said, stop thinking, stop feeling. Something cringed within you. I'm sure it did. We all have this something inside. And this is it.